hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this video. Let's get it, let's get it. I appreciate y'all for tuning back in to SYG Visions, where I like to bring your visions to life. Just imagine being at a pop-up shop, being able to make custom items right on the spot with your embroidering machine. This project right here is super easy, but also the perfect way to add a touch of personality to a custom item. So let's jump right on in. First, you want to start off by finding a material that does not fray, such as leather, faux leather, or marine vinyl. Then you need to decide if you want the same kind of fabric on the front as well as the back. Then pick out your thread of choice. You will also need some type of foam. The thickness is your preference, but don't go too thick, as well as some rivets and a keychain hook. You will also probably need a rivet tool, a hammer, and some scissors. I almost forgot, you need your embroidery machine, your hoop of choice, and your stabilizer. Let's get started. First, you want to take your embroidery hoop loose, place your stabilizer on there. On both sides of the hoop are little notches. You want to make sure that the arrows are lined up from the front part of the hoop as well as the back part. So that is what you see me showing you right there in the video. Hopefully you can see that. But it's a little bitty notch right there. Like I said, you want to put your stabilizer in between. Put the top in there, making sure that the arrows are facing both the same way. Then you're going to tighten up your hoop. You want to try to get as tight as possible so that stabilizer is in there pretty good. And that's how you hook up your stabilizer to your hoop. Like I said, this project is super easy. Doesn't take long at all. It has maybe 4 to 5 steps in it. You will see that whole process throughout this video. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this video. So I'm just going on my embroidery machine, clicking on my design, and about to get ready on the first stitch. Let's get it. Hopefully you will be able to see the pink thread as it's being put down as a placement stitch. So it is stitching the whole area of the actual keychain. And I will be doing the letter K. With this size embroidery hoop, I probably could have made 2 keychains at once. Now that the K has been fully stitched out, now it's about to add the tab onto the K. If y'all have any suggestions of what you would like my next video to be on, or even just a question, leave it in the comment section. I will respond back to your comment directly, or I will respond to it in my next video. So that's the end of the first step. So now what you see me doing is folding the foam in half, because I'm thinking that I want to make it thicker, because this piece of foam is kind of thin. Like I was saying earlier, the thickness is your preference, but you don't want it to be too thick. So it all depends on the size of the thickness of your piece to start with. So as you can see, mine is pretty thin, so I decided to cut it in half. You can either fuse it together with some temporary basting adhesive, or you can just lay them flat on top of each other. Right here, you can see me trying to size it up. You want to make sure that the foam is covering that tack down stitch. If not, your design gonna be without foam in some areas. So I end up having to get a new piece. But like I said, I want it thicker. So you will see me get a whole new piece again, because that second piece right there still wasn't big enough. As you can see, I went and got me another piece of foam. I'm about to fold it in half and go ahead and cut it down the middle. and then I'm gonna place it onto my hoop, making sure that I am covering up the stitching. As you can see, I'm pointing at the stitching. You want to make sure you got it covered up so that you know you got foam over your whole design. As we move along through this process, this is step 2, the tack down stitch. While this is stitching out, let's talk about your color palette. You want to pick a color that speaks to your soul, shows your personality, whether it's bright and bold or soft and pastel. Let your imagination run wild. So let's get to running. People that know me know I love me some color, some bright colors at that. So it's only right that my keychain matches my personality. Once you've decided on the color scheme you want, now it's time to decide whether you want that same color to be on the back side of your keychain. It's totally up to your preference. Now that it's done with step number 2, as you can see the outline of the K again, this is, like I said, the tack down stitch. Now we are going to remove the hoop from the embroidery machine, and we will start the process of removing the foam. Now, since I did not fuse my 2 pieces of foam together, I'm going to have to do this in 2 tries. But you want to be very careful not to pull up the foam that's within the K. You want to go take the foam out that's on the outside of the K. Sometimes it comes off easy. Sometimes it's a struggle, which you will see me struggling with it. Just take your time so that you don't rip the foam in the areas that you're not supposed to. So you can also use your scissors. You will also see me grab some tweezers. But like I said, you want to be careful. So right now I'm finishing up getting the last little pieces of foam out the way. Now I'm finna cut the little bitty excess pieces of thread out the way as well. I'm not sure if you can tell, my hand is kind of in the way, but that little bottom piece of the K is lifted up just a little bit. That is fine. Like I said, just make sure you try to be careful. It's not going to be seen because the fabric is going on top of it, but you want to make sure that most of your foam has been tacked down so that it does not move during this next process. So I decided to go with this colorful fish scale looking fabric. I believe that it's like a type of faux leather, or it might be a marine vinyl, but it's pretty thin. Like I said, I like me some bright, colorful colors. So this right here goes with my personality very well. When you place your fabric onto your hoop, you want to make sure that your entire design is covered. Not just the K. You want to make sure the tab part that is attached to the K is covered as well. So you see me, I had already sized it up, so I took it back off, and now I'm cutting it down some. And the reason I said get a material that does not fray is because at the end of this project, we will be cutting the K out of the fabric. I'm going to remove the hoop from the machine so that I can show you up close what I mean by making sure the whole design is covered. So you want to make sure this whole outline of pink stitch is covered with fabric. Then I will be placing it back onto my hoop, and you will see me making sure that it is completely covered again. If you want to, you can put some adhesive basting spray on it for a temporary hold. So now we finna go into step 3, which is another tack down stitch. So now it's finna tack down this fabric on top of the foam. And I like how it looks once I do it 2 times around instead of just the once. I'm leaving my keychain simple but yet cute because of the decorative material I chose. But you can add a little bit of hearts, stars, flowers, or even the person's actual name if it's able to fit within the part of the letter. So now I'm finna remove it from the machine, and I'm going to look it over. If I see any strings that need to be cut off, I will. So this is how it's looking so far. I don't know if you can tell, but it kind of gives it, the foam gives it a 3D type look. It's very bright and colorful and got a little sparkle to it. I'm loving it so far. So what you want to do is flip it over. If you decided to use the same fabric as the front, then use that. If you're using a different piece, grab that piece of fabric. In my case, I'm using a piece of white faux leather. You want to make sure to size it up to make sure your whole design is covered. And then I am going to cut it down to the right size. You can use pins, or in this case, I'm just going to use my basking spray and adhere it to the back side so that it does not move once I put it back on the hoop. I'm not sure if you can see the little white specks, but that is the basking. You just lay it on the back. Like I said, just make sure your whole design is covered up. Press it down some, and now it's adhered to it. And now you're going to place it back onto the machine. So this step right here is going to go all the way around the K and do the tab part. But as you can see, I just had an issue where my thread messed up. So what I'm going to have to do is take some tweezers and try to grab my thread from out of the top of my machine so I can re-thread it up. Now let's get back to business. Well, at least I thought we was finna get back to business, but apparently my machine had other plans because once again, it wanted to mess up and my thread popped again. So this time I said, well, maybe my bobbin messed up. So you will see me remove my hoop from the machine and check my bottom bobbin. As you notice, the string for my bobbin is still connected to my project, so I'm going to have to cut it off. And once I opened my bobbin, I did see a little bit of extra excess plastic, but nothing that should have caused any issues. But once I did look over at my actual thread on my spool holder, I guess a piece of my foam had done laid up against it, so it was keeping the thread from coming off the spool correctly. So now you will see me return my project back to the machine, and we're going to try this for a third time. They always say sometimes the third time is the charm, so we're going to see. So once again, let me get the thread from out the top of my machine and rethread it so we can get back on track. I really appreciate y'all tuning in to my channel, SYG Visions, where I like to bring your vision to life. If you like what you saw, please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this video. You can even leave a comment and let me know how I did in this video. Also, although this video is about 40 minutes long, the machine itself only took maybe about 5 minutes to actually stitch this design out. So yes, this is a fun and easy project that you can do on the spot. So on your next pop-up shop, take your embroidery machine and make personalized initials right there on the spot. Finally got the bad boy back up and running. Like I said, it's going to do a final stitch around. It's going to go around the whole K as well as the tab area. Once again, I like how it looks with 2 bypass stitch, so I will let it do it twice. The circles that you will see that are being placed down on the tab is the placement for the holes for your rivets. We're almost there. I'm going to let it stitch around one more time. Once the embroidered piece is done, then it will be time to neaten things up. So now you want to remove your hoop from your machine. I'm going to push the bad boy back and go ahead and go turn it off. So this is how it's looking. It's looking pretty and shiny and glittery and colorful. So now you're going to untighten the hoop so you can remove the material from the hoop. Then you want to start tearing away your stabilizer. Now it's time to go in with your scissors to cut any loose pieces of thread that may be hanging on the front and back side of this piece. So this is how it's looking right now. So now what you want to do is cut around the outside line of the K. You want to give yourself enough space to where you're not cutting up against the thread. So as you can see, the tweezers that I got up against that line, leaving about that much of space between the line and where you're cutting from, which is 1/16 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch. So just slowly start cutting around, trying your best not to hit the stitches. If you do happen to hit the stitches, your project will be messed up. Just take your time when you're cutting around your keychain. We coming up on the last piece we gotta cut. We almost to the finish line. I'm not sure if you can tell in the camera, but that inside K is where the puff was at. And it gives it like a 3D raised effect. Now the last step is putting on your hardware pieces. So I have some rivets with rhinestones on it, as well as some regular rivets. But I believe I want to go with the rhinestones, and I also have the swivel snap hooks. The hardware that you choose is your preference. I also have this rivet tool. This will be my first time using it, so bear with me. As you can see, the rivets come with a front and a back piece. As I was opening the package, I noticed that I didn't really like how the clip opens, and also that the size of the hoop on the end is too small. But since it is my keychain, I'm going to go ahead and finish this project, but I will be having to look for new hardware. You see me trying to read the instructions on how to use this rivet tool, but to be honest, I still didn't know what I was doing. And you also will see that it didn't work out for me. So the directions said to put the tip of this tool in my hand over the hole spot, which is that circle that was stitched out, and to hit it with a rubber hammer. But I don't got no hammer around. Directions also said to have a firm surface, so I decided to use this circle thing to put it on top of, and use the other tool as a hammer. But like I said, it did not work for me. You could see the indentation, but it was not going all the way through. I do realize I was not hitting it hard enough. If I had a hammer, it probably would have went through. This is me still trying to hammer it in, but still was not successful. I even took out my cooling block, hoping that I wouldn't mess it up by hammering on it or using it as a hammer. But once again, that didn't work either. I finally gave in and decided to just use the scissors, snip a little hole, make sure it went through to both sides. And you want to do the same thing with the second hole as well. Now I'm finna read the rest of the instructions as to how to put the rivets on. I decided to go with the rhinestone rivet since my material already has a sparkle to it. Why not add a little more sparkle? You're going to take it, since that is the rhinestone, you want it to be showing on the front of your keychain. You want to take it from the front. Also, you can see that I was about to fold it on over, but first you have to put your key hook on there. Like I said, this one is too small, but since it's for me, I'm not really worried about it. But like I said, definitely will be looking for some different hardware. Also, I noticed once I folded over the other side that the rivet seemed as if it might have been too short, but I was able to snap it on. Once you snap it on, it will be loose until you hit it on all the way. So now I was trying to decide how was I supposed to be hitting this rivet all the way on. Because in my head, if I hit it on the rhinestone side, I'm going to mess up my rhinestone. And then if I hit it on this side, I'm still going to be pushing down on my rhinestone. And I didn't want my rhinestone to get messed up. Once again, didn't know what I was doing, so I used the tools and tried to use the other tool as a hammer. It did work. And this is just me hitting it on a little bit more just to make sure it was completely secure. And there you have it. Your embroidered initial keychain is finally done. This is the finished product. Now you're able to show it off on your keys, on your bag, or you can give it to someone as a gift. Once again, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I hope you like what you saw. If so, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this video.